welcome back to the universe, where we talk all things you. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating topic: the ego. Friend, foe, or both? Let's start with a question. Have you ever felt yourself comparing your life to that of someone else's Instagram reel? That's your ego at play. Now, before you demonize it, let's explore what the ego really is and how we can work with it instead of letting it control us. Understanding the ego is not just for psychologists or spiritualists. Understanding everyone who's ever struggled with self doubt, conflict, or the need for validation. Grab a comfy seat and let's unravel the mysteries of the ego. Ego is derived from the Latin word I, and this was coined by Sigmund Freud, and he introduced it as a theory or a part of the theory of the mind. According to Freud, the ego acts as a mediator between our primal desires, the id, and our moral compass, the superego. So picture this. The id is in the middle, and on either side is the ego and the superego, primal desires, and moral compass. But let's move beyond Freud for a moment. In today's context, the ego is seen as the part of ourself, our identity. It's the I am. It helps us set boundaries, navigate the world, and make decisions. But the ego also has a darker side. And the darker side is the side that lends itself to fear, it lends itself to doubt, it lends itself to comparison and insecurity. From a neuroscience perspective, the ego lays in the default network of the brain, known as the default mode network. This is the part of the brain that's active when we are daydreaming, reflecting on ourselves. It's why we get stuck reflecting on embarrassing situations or we're thinking of future situations. Sound familiar? A healthy ego is like a good friend. It helps set boundaries and it builds confidence. The dark side of the ego is like an overprotective parent. It smothers us with fear and demands constant validation. Now, the trick is knowing when to listen to the ego and when to silence it. Now, let's talk some common traps that the ego sets for us. Have you ever felt fearful of trying to try something new because you were afraid of getting embarrassed? Now, that's the ego trying to protect you, but it's also the ego that's stopping you from growing. Another trap is the need for validation. How many of us are on the other side of our social media? We post something, we're checking if it got liked. We in a constant need for validation. We need other people to tell us how good we are or that we did a great job. That's the ego at play. The ego craves external satisfaction or external validation. And then there's defensiveness. Somebody says something, your first reaction is to defend, to justify, to explain, instead of just listening. Now, the ego doesn't just affect our inner world, it affects our relationships. It's that part where we argue to be right instead of just to get an understanding. It's why we feel jealous or threatened when somebody else succeeds. But the important thing is that we bring awareness to that. And once we are aware, we can choose a different path and a different response. A friend once told me that they felt unheard in our conversations. My initial response is to be, no, I do listen, but. And then I just had to take a moment, take a breath, step back. And I asked, tell me more about how that makes you feel or how you feel when I do that. Strengthened our friendship because it put connection over pride. Now, how do you know if it's your ego or your higher self talking? Your ego is the one that's loud, it's reactive. It's like, you're not good enough. What will people think? The higher self, on the other hand, is calm and it's wise. The voice that says, you are enough just as you are. And trust the process. Now, the ego has a way of blocking manifestation. It has a way of saying, For example, you really want a promotion. So you just keep pushing yourself to do the things that you think make you good enough for that promotion. When in fact, your desperation for it creates resistance. You allowing yourself to trust the process is where the magic of manifestation happens and allows the process to just unfold. Let's insert personal story. So just recently, I've been placed in a situation where I have a diverse group of people around me. Now, if any of you can relate to this, please let me know. There are a few people that I engage with on a daily basis that when I'm having a conversation with them, if I say, I am so tired, they would say, I am even more tired. I haven't slept for days. I went to bed really late. If I would say, once upon a time, I achieved this. It's quite a time in my life. They would say, but when I was your age, this, you see where I'm going with this. And for me, the reason why I chose this topic is because I have observed the ego at play. The ego, in the sense that the ego has to come to the forefront. The ego has to prove that they are superior in what they might think, or the perception they might have of what is superior, in order to feel validated in that moment. And yes, it's still a challenge for me in order to navigate that. While I may have brought awareness to the ego within myself, hence the conversation I had with a friend, it's difficult to see it in someone else and highlight it to them. Because this journey that we're going on in this world is literally one of self-reflection, right? Self-growth. So you alerting someone to that within themselves might not necessarily bring the change that you want. So I ask myself, how do I continue navigating this space? Moving in a space with people that are egotistical. Sure, that word. When you say egotistical, it kind of gives a different connotation than ego, right? So, how am I dealing with this on a daily? Well, you have to stay grounded and aware to your own ego. Egotistical people often seek validation and dominance in conversations. So, stay calm and refuse to go into arguments or one-upping conversations. They often also thrive on your response being emotional. So try and keep calm and avoid responding emotionally to them. Set boundaries. Respectfully assert yourself. If you feel that they are monopolizing conversation, say something like, I'd like to share my thoughts too. And if their behavior consistently drains you, it's okay to shift yourself from engaging with them. And something I'm really trying to learn is to protect my energy. Don't take it personally. I need to understand and remember that their struggles is what drives their ego. And again, it's not a reflection of my worth. And then avoid feeding their ego. If you feel that their behavior is toxic or hurtful, then disengage. Detach with grace. If you feel that, again, it's not a safe space for you, just say, can we continue this conversation another time? I need to step away now. Personal growth requires such deep introspective work, right? So the next time you find yourself in a position, perhaps with an egotistical person, use it as an opportunity to practice patience, compassion, but more importantly, to bring awareness to yourself. See if there is something that is perhaps being mirrored in the person, that's something that you don't align to, or that you notice perhaps within yourself. And then do the work to work through that. This week, I'm not going to say the challenge is find someone egotistical, because chances are you probably already know one. So this week, I just want you to bring an awareness to your own ego. If there's a moment you perhaps feel jealous, seeing someone else succeed, you perhaps needing validation if you post something or somebody to tell you that you're doing an okay job, First of all, let me validate you. You're doing an amazing job. Secondly, just bring an awareness to what it is that you're feeling when you are engaging with people like this. And then the tips that I gave, try and move through those. Thank you so much again for joining me on the universe. And I do hope to see you next time. We uncover, explore another topic around you. And don't forget, if this episode resonated with you, please share with a friend. Until next time, be happy, be bright, be you.